I'm Drew, and this is my garage. 3, 2, 1. Evan Huynh, thank you for joining us on Drew's Garage.
Yeah, we're truly in the garage, man. Thanks for having me here.
We're literally in the garage. A 1954 single-family home in San Jose. We're talking real estate. I think it's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
So we were talking before we started rolling, you getting in the business. So you've been doing real estate now for like 6 months, 7 months. How long have you been doing real estate now?
Well, I've been in an industry for over 15 years now, man. I started back in 2003. I started out in the in the loan industry, and I got to
my side of things.
Your side of things.
Right.
So I've been in that dark side of the world before. And the great thing I really appreciate, and I think most real estate agents don't appreciate this, is having the loan experience. And I think that will help you understand the other sides of the business, right? It's really truly how to help put a person in the home.
Yeah, and the numbers have to work, right? Hey, this is a beautiful home, but do the numbers work, which we're about to talk about in just a minute.
Right, and it's all about the numbers. I think in real estate, it's a large investment. The number have to make sense. Even though you can't afford it, doesn't mean you should pay for it. Right. And sometimes you really have to understand everything why. That's why, people don't really understand. You calculate DTI, right? Front end, back end.
Income ratio, yep.
Right. So that's why I think by understanding this, you can actually, I can look at a buyer right now and identify whether or not that's going to be a buyer or not. Because he or she, whether or not have enough income, sufficient income to be in certain home.
Right.
Or I can give them the advice that other real estate agent might not be able to give to them by saying, hey, look, your income is this, your DTI is this, and you don't want to be looking in this area because you're going to be paying way too much.
And just mentally, you can be like, okay, yep, you're an actual buyer, or hey, we're going to need to do this low and slow thing where we get you to the place where you can eventually buy. Yeah, so that's important.
Even though I don't do loan now, but I can listen to their scenario and like, okay, I'm going to get you the right person that can help you get where you want to be, like 5 months, 6 months, or a year from now financially to be in a home that you actually wanted to buy.
Absolutely. All right, so talk to me about real estate though. So real estate. Obviously, you help people buy homes, but also on your own personal side, you do some flips, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when did you get into flips?
Well, in about 3 years ago, I started a real estate team called TE Real Estate Group. It's my partner and I, Chung. I think you had a chance to meet him. And we joined this boutique company called Acumax. And this company is a boutique real estate in the Vietnamese community that I've done tons of flips.
No kidding.
I would say in thousands of properties.
Wow.
That was the volume in the last 5 years that they did.
Whereabouts?
All over. From Bay Area all the way to Sacramento, Stockton, as far as Vegas, and then come back.
So mostly Northern California and some other states as well.
Correct. But how I truly got into flip was, I work actually, and I forgot to disclose that I only been in the Bay Area for the last 4 years.
What? Get out of here.
I actually grew up in the East Bay.
Okay.
And I moved to Sacramento, spent 8 years there, kind of started my own brokerage and did my own thing, and then actually came back to the Bay Area. And because of flipping, that's what brought me back to Bay Area.
Oh, really? Okay, so you were flipping, and that's why you're here today.
Yeah.
Okay,
interesting. And flipping, following all the homes, all the projects, kind of lead me back to Bay Area. I was a real estate agent selling REO's property in Sacramento. And
there was a few there.
There was a few there.
Everywhere, but yeah.
So for those that don't know, Sacramento was like number 1, number 2 in the whole national radar for foreclosure, and I was at the heart of it, and that's what's in Sacramento. And because I was working with like some of the major banks, I was getting all these assets, these toxic assets that is very juicy to all the real estate investors.
Absolutely.
So for years, I was getting calls from the investor, even the real estate agent here. They're like, hey, Evan, I like that deal. Can I work with you? And then all of a sudden, I help them buy that home. And then later on, we list for them and they make like a quick $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 by pop. And I was like, wow, how these guys are doing it, right? So I was working with one of these investors and I was feeding him deals. And then finally one day I'm like, hey, I got this really juicy deal, right? You're going to make $150,000 in this deal. You get the cash. I'll keep finding deals. And how about we split 50-50 on the profit side? I'm not going to take any commission anymore. Going forward, you and I are going to partner up. Would you like that? And again, that's how I really got started from the first deal. And then boom, I didn't have any money put into the deal. And then a second deal, a third deal, and I stopped buying my own deal from there.
And that's the interesting thing is, we went to something a couple weeks ago, and the big saying was, "Hey, there's no money problem these days.
Correct.
It's deal problem. It's finding the right deals," and you were able to find those deals.
And I think even right now in real estate flipping, it's not about the money. It's about finding the right deals.
Right. The loan officer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Working with the right loan officer.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, it's finding that deal, right? I mean, because you'll know before you even write the contract, this is a juicy deal or there's nothing here.
Yeah, we do all the homework. We do, it's really important to do your homework when you do flipping. When guys go out there and just based on a few, calculation and think that's the right deal. I mean, you can be no experience and dumb and make money in flipping probably a couple of years ago, but not now.
Okay.
Yeah, now you got to really do your due diligence, man. You got to really add value to the property. Otherwise, you can end up losing money.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to just find some distressed home and just buy it, put some paint on it, and put it back on the market.
Correct.
So you've been flipping now for a handful of years here in San Jose, and I'm sure you do properties. You're not, if something's in Fremont, you'll do Fremont if it's the right deal. But talk to me about how you got into what we really want to talk about, which is Airbnb.
Correct.
So the flipping somehow evolved into doing Airbnb. So how did that happen?
Yeah, so our team, our team calls TE Real Estate Group, and we've been working with real estate investors for the last, 5 years, actually. We kind of grow with these investors, and we start finally have a portfolio that we manage, if you will. And these are the people
portfolio, you're talking about the deals that you sourced, and they kind of added value to these homes.
These are the deals that we put together, and we help them either acquire or fix or add value, and they end up holding on to those properties. And these are ranging from residential all the way to commercial properties. And these are the investors that buy and sell with us. So we add on a service that we manage those assets for them. So right now, currently, we're managing over 60 million worth of real estate assets.
Wow.
So, and again, all these assets that we're managing, especially the single family home or the multi-unit, we're starting to see that you're kind of like a stocks portfolio. You get to a point where it's getting boring. You're not growing anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's to us. We're holding a large portfolio. It wasn't growing. And then, I was telling you earlier that how I accidentally got into Airbnb by, I first, had an addition for my home, and then I added an extra room and extra, separate access in the back, and I was like, let's rent it out. But I don't want to rent to a long-term tenant. I don't want to see someone like every single day, right?
Right.
So I was just checking this Airbnb out, and I know Airbnb been around since 2008, and that's over 10 years ago, and they about to go IPO, so it's a big thing.
Right.
We'll talk about that more in the next podcast, but we just checking out the short-term thing, so I start listing it on Airbnb.
And this is a unit in the back of your primary residence.
A granny
where you
unit.
live. Okay.
Granny unit, separate entrance, separate access and everything wise. So we're like, just toss it on Airbnb and see what happened. It was instantly, like within a couple of hours, we get like instant booking.
Wow.
And that just one room, we're generating over $2,000 a month.
On your primary residence.
On my primary residence.
You're generating $2,000.
Correct. And our mortgage is only $2,700.
Right. Okay.
So technically that Airbnb, that one room paying like
all your interest and
correct.
Maybe some of your principal as well.
Yeah, and then that's when it resonated to me. It's like, hey, you know what? We have a lot of property in prime location, so we're collecting the property back, fixing them up a little bit, creating separate access, and turn into short-term rental.
Okay, and what is there a specific definition of what short-term is compared to long-term? Long-term, usually like a year lease? Right?
Yeah, per most city ordinance, anything less than 30 days or 28 days in San Francisco, if you will, is considered a short-term rental.
Okay. So now you have more than a couple of homes that are the short-term, we'll call them Airbnb homes that are vacation rentals.
Currently, we have a large portfolio. We're actually one of the larger small boutique firm right now. We have over 58 listing on Airbnb.
Wow.
We're also managing some of the boutique hotel as well.
Really?
We're onboarding a kind of dormitory in San Francisco, 52 rooms, SRO in San Francisco, and that's something that we're actually working on right now with the investor.
No way, that's awesome.
So we're growing at a very rapid pace from going, and I look at our projection of income, because Airbnb give you a projection of income, and I was looking since we started was like $5,000-6,000 a month. Now we're growing. Just the last quarter we did over close to $200,000 in gross revenue.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me. I mean, let's say I am somebody who I'm thinking about getting a rental property. I could get a boring single family home like the house we're in today, and it's fine. It will rent out to a nice family who wants good schools and so on and so forth. And they'll stay there for hopefully many years, and I'm a happy landlord. But home prices have increased, rents have increased as well. But if you're going to buy a new home today, sometimes that's difficult to cash flow instantly.
Correct.
Right? Now, if you do some value add and whatnot, maybe. But talk to me about this Airbnb. Why would an investor think about Airbnb instead of long term?
Well, that's a topic I love to talk about, man, because I have a client who I just visited yesterday. She came to me about, and let me show you this story, and I'm going to go back and answer your question. This client, she's about 52 right now. She's a travel nurse. She's been doing it for a long time. She's like, I'm going to take an early retirement. But she came to me about a year ago, and she said, Evan, I'm about to scale down, my husband and I, and we're looking to create passive income. And I asked her, what do you have right now? And I say, I got this property, and this property is actually right next to Regional Medical Center, which is a hospital, and they have the most travel nurses in that hospital. There's two major sectors of people that travel. They're in technology sector and in healthcare sector. Yeah. These are the two dominant sector that consuming the short-term rental, because these guys, they been contract to go around.
And how long are those contracts? Couple months,
like
6 months,
quarterly,
months.
whatnot, and they get reviewed, and then they'll get sent to the different places.
Gotcha.
So she came to me and like, hey, I need a solution. And I like, well, let me go check out your home. And she had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a walking distance to Regional Medical Center with a huge backyard. And I'm like, you know what, this is what you're going to do. And this was a year ago, okay? And I say, I want you to talk to my engineer, and they're going to come in and give you an estimate of adding 3-bedroom, 3-bath to your home.
Adding additional.
Correct.
3-bed, 3-bath.
Correct.
So going from a 3-2 to a 6-5?
6-5.
Ooh, okay.
To the 6-5, and the cost is, and they own that home free and clear. And I say, you know what, talk to a good loan officer, pull out some equity line, and let's do an estimate and see how much can that cost for you to build this 3-bedroom, 3-bath. And she got an estimate of roughly close to $200,000.
Okay.
For everything. That's including fixing her primary home as well. So while she's working on that, she's improved her entire primary home, make it look modern and things like that. So right now, she just finished, and I came to her house yesterday. She got a separate entrance, and it'll lead her to a 3-bedroom, 3-bath with a small kind of kitchen or laundry room, so that there'll be 2 laundry rooms. So with that, once it's done, it's going to be done sometime this week, we can rent it out. And each room can generate about $2,000 a month, and she can have a $6,000 passive income right at the back of her backyard. And a separate entrance. Now that not only pay for her equity line and all her property tax.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's one way of scaling down. And then go back answering your question. It's like, if someone buying a home and they can't afford in Silicon Valley, because you need to make $250,000 as a couple to buy a home here in Silicon Valley. Yep. There's a way to kind of diversify some of that cost, right? There's a way to cut down the cost of living, or even though sometimes you can't afford it.
That's what I was about to say. It's like, hey, you might actually qualify, right? But you go, hey, this is just too much for me.
Correct.
Got to go. A lot of times you're looking at somewhere around $6,000 to $10,000 a month on housing payment. And you go,
and that's crazy. You're not gonna have a life paying that much in your home,
right?
And again, you don't always stay home. You need to have opportunity to have a life and go out and enjoy, maybe have a vacation now and here and there. So,
and people who don't have families, right? They're well, I would like to have a 3-2 or something, but I don't really need it today. Maybe in 5 years I need it.
Yeah.
This might be a great
And that's another solution for those that are single and maybe young couples starting out and not necessarily need that extra room right away. So you can actually turn that into an Airbnb and then do it. And again, and then go back to the reason that having is freedom, right? So that's why. And again, one thing I want to disclose that you don't want to manage your own Airbnb.
No, why not?
It's a lot of work. So when people are thinking about getting into Airbnb and doing their home, that's like.
So when I think of it, I think booking is going to be hard.
Well, booking is easy part.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you create a listing on Airbnb, Airbnb kind of do all the work because they want you to get the maximum booking so they can make that quick 3%.
Very intuitive. They'll tell you what you need to do.
Correct.
Okay.
It's very easy. It's the managing side of it.
And what's managing? I mean, if the booking's already done and they show up, they leave.
Number one thing about Airbnb, bro, is cleaning.
Okay.
Your place have to be clean, spotless every time the guests arrive, because otherwise,
that one bad review,
right. a piece of hair on the pillow, anything like that, people will talk about it, and all of a sudden your listing started to drop, and you're going to lose some of your superhost status. So to me,
what's a superhost status, by the way?
Superhost status is someone that Airbnb have a criteria. If you respond at X amount of time and your X amount of reviews and X amount of booking, then you earn that superhost status. And to me, that's just meaning you're more responsible as a host.
Does that move you up in the search findings or something? Or just
that I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But it means at least that, hey, if I book this, I'm going to be dealing with somebody who's
more professional.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
More professional versus someone that don't care too much about their guests and look at their home. You can tell, I would say 70-80% of people on Airbnb are amateur. They take a picture on their phone,
right?
They write their own description.
I've seen some of those listings. You go, it could be good or it could be horrible. I have no idea.
Now this takes you back to about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right? When Uber was like brand new. And then it was so weird when you just like book a car and then you get in the back of someone's car and you see their personal items in their whole car and everything like that. And I was like, am I going to trust this guy taking me from where I'm going to, so.
And now they have all the chargers and mints and water in the back. It's all different.
So now there was a super Uber driver. So now super hosts are the guy that provide more amenities, more, things like that in their home, make a guest feel comfortable. Because imagine you're having someone else, and it's total stranger coming in your home. You know what I mean? So that's to me, I think the world is changing to where people are getting more and more comfortable sharing spaces, sharing car, sharing offices, and everything is co-living, co-work, getting space, all that stuff.
So let me just shine a quick spotlight on GPH.
Go Property Hub.
Go Property Hub. I definitely think that the management part of it is very important. Something, service that you guys provide that I imagine is, way better than doing it yourself, right? But I think also it's before you either buy the property, right? Or if you already own the property and you're considering doing this, using the expertise that you guys have. Because if you're doing what you're saying you're doing, you have the knowledge that so many people don't have, right? And you're just throwing a dart at something thinking like, I think I'm going to make some money. I have no idea. Where you could come in and say, all right, here's the calculations, here's how much you're going to make, and we'll manage the whole thing for you. Right? Is that kind of the
it's
am I
funny.
thinking this through?
Yeah, exactly. And I think right now, in real estate, we have a thing called CMA, compare market analysis. Right. And Airbnb is so new. There isn't a website or anywhere you can go to do an estimate value of how much your room can rent out for. Right. You can go on Airbnb app and then kind of like draw a little map and see what's all the listings in that area and how much they're renting for. And you look at their photo, look at their amenity, and see what they're offering to get the price that they're asking. And we call it the ADR, which is the average daily rate. How much average daily rate are they getting in that area? So it's funny you brought that up because I'm working with a data company right now. It's called All the Room, and All the Room is the data company that provide data report to a show on Netflix called Stay Here with Peter Lorimer. Yeah, I mentioned. Okay. So Joshua, the CEO, actually got on the phone with me. We're working on a demo to see if we can perhaps come up with an engine for a regular consumer to pop on, put in the address, put in a room or a private room or a share room, whatnot, and how much what they expected to get it for.
Because it's also seasons too, right?
Correct.
And every city and every neighborhood is going to be very different, right? If you're walking distance to an attraction, that's different than if you're in a bedroom community.
Correct. Okay. So when we look at putting an Airbnb up, we are identifying a property before we fix it, repairs it, and turn it into an Airbnb. We look at everything, man. We look at what's all the companies around the property, the hospital, the public transportation, and basically the amenities we think we can provide to the travelers who can use the space for whatever they're doing, either business leisure or personal leisure. So we look at all that, and then we look at Airbnb. And again, we've been talking a lot about Airbnb, but you have to understand that Airbnb, it's only one channel. There's like 5-6 other channels out there.
VRBOs and Craigslist, whatever else.
Everything. Zillow now start doing some of the short-term rental advertisement, and Booking.com is the monster, and then there's TripAdvisor.
Okay. Yeah. TripAdvisor as well.
Yeah. So Airbnb, it's actually more popular like in Australia or other country than America. America is a little bit new, in my opinion, even though it started here in America. But I think
we already had established VRBO has been around for longer than Airbnb, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Airbnb just make it a lot more user friendly and just bring it to the consumers like Uber.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like this is kind of a trend. It's something that I hear quite a bit when I have people who say, yeah, I might sell, but I'm thinking maybe I'll Airbnb it as well. Or, you know, hey, we want to get a vacation home some other place, Tahoe or wine country or something, and we're thinking about turning it into an Airbnb. And there's things that you have to consider on the lending side. What do you think, though? I mean, we'll again say Airbnb, but is the short-term rental, is this a game? Is this real? Is this here to stay? Is this just a trend? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a true believer in short-term rental, and I think it's here to stay, and I'll tell you why. We, especially here in Silicon Valley, we desperately need it, man. Because if you have a travel nurse or a high-tech person or anyone that working an assignment, they can't afford to go out and sign a 12-month lease.
Right.
Or
because those are costly to break.
Correct.
Too.
And then when you don't allow them to do that, there's other options, right? People are now sharing rooms, and they sharing room is like subleasing, and you're violating all the lease contract if you don't fully disclose to your landlord. And if that person don't leave the property, you have to go through like eviction, just like a regular tenant.
Right.
So all those right there creating so much trouble.
And California, I mean, the tenant rights are very, very strong.
Very strict. And I think by having a short-term rental agreement, and now everything kind of upfront and clear. Now, what I like about Airbnb is that they collect everything upfront, right? They collect major credit card information. They collect, government identification card and all that stuff, and make it really easy for a host to feel safe. It's just like Uber, right? You have your major credit card linked up to the account. Right. You have some other verification, and then you just got to go through
and you have the reviews.
You get the review system. Right? So that's something that you don't have with, let's say you put on Craigslist and try to share a room out to a total stranger that you probably don't know anything about. You don't have their credit card information on file, and you're counting on them making that payment every month. Now, short-term rental is a solution for all that headaches.
Gotcha. I love that. So we're wrapping up here. What I'm going to do is we'll put down your give us some contact information if people want to learn more. We'll put it on the bottom of the video and in the iTunes description and whatnot. And then, of course, tag you and
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Up, though. But I honestly, this is certainly something that I'm interested in personally, and I hear it from everybody who's thinking about buying rental properties is now, wait a minute, there's this other choice. You're not just stuck into this long-term rental path. You can go down this other area and possibly make more money and have more fun doing it.
Yeah. And what our team like to do is in any time that you have a client or anyone that interested in buying a property and thinking about short-term rental as a solution, we come out to the property for free. We actually do a kind of like an assessment. We do an area study and things like that, and we give you a report. And that report is very detailed. Like we have all the expenses break down to the T, including our management fee, including all the major expenses, including insurance. Right. You have to have the proper insurance for it, and you gotta have all the other costs like commodities and amenities that you provide to the home, furniture costs, things like that. Right. We break it down to the T so you have an understanding that what the initial investment is gonna be, how long it's gonna take you to recoup all that, and what your ADR, which is average daily rate, going to be for your home or that room that you're looking to go with the short-term rental route.
That's priceless.
Yeah. So kind of give you an idea, like, hey, do I want to go this way? You know what I mean?
Right. Especially before you even sign on the dotted line and say, okay, I'm buying this property. That's going to be huge for somebody.
Yeah. And for the young listener who listen to this, and I say you should really consider looking into having a short-term rental to offset some of your costs so now you can buy a home again. Because I really want young people to stop buying houses and thinking about buying houses. Because right now, all of a sudden, like, I don't know if you're seeing this, but rental is starting to see like the trend right now, right? They're building luxury apartment and like micro apartment. I was in Oakland checking out the project. It's like a micro apartment is a thing now in downtown Oakland. Yeah, what is that, right? It's micro apartments are the room ranging between 175 to 250 square feet.
For what?
For one apartment. That's how big the entire space is.
What? 100 and what?
175 square feet.
All right. So you're like sitting in your bed doing the kitchen work?
Half of your garage here.
This is like probably 300 square feet, 400 square feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy.
And they're renting out for $1,800 a month.
Wow.
And the key to that is that people just go to their room, sleep, and they have common area, right? They have common kitchen, common bathroom, and share kitchen, and share a common space, and they can live right there at the prime location of downtown Oakland, and they can just walk to work and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
So I think that is the new trend, and people are now, more inclined towards something like that rather than owning a home. But what if I tell you right now that you can own a home, get the appreciation,
and rent it out,
have your own short-term rental operations, and have someone take care for it. Like they have a property manager to take care of everything for you. Like my Airbnb right now, I have cleaners. I haven't seen it for a while. Okay. And that's how it should be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a business, and our cleaner come out, take care of the property, take care of the linen. The next guest checked in, boom, everything is automated. We have AI, a system that we communicate with guests directly. So we have guests that before they check in, and we send them a message, say, welcome to San Jose. This is what you can expect. Here's the weather. Boom, boom. And by the way, here's your check-in information. Any question, feel free to, and then boom, when they checked in, hey, welcome to the home. Here's something you should know about the home. Boom, 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 boom. And here's some places you can check around town.
Right.
And then we have a VA that do those messaging directly. So again, these are the things that what I mentioned about is having a self-sufficient business for your Airbnb, so you don't have to have a headache about. I mean, I have some hosts like running around, like, calling me up and say, Evan, do you have a cleaner that can come out and help clean my home and so, because my cleaner decided to call in sick and whatnot, and they say, hey, if you don't have a cleaner, you are the cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're managing it and your cleaner calls in sick, then you're cleaning.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's the deal. Awesome, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Drew's Garage. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, or do whatever you do best, and I'll see you next time.